everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, How to Accelerate and Optimize the Profitability of Your Trade Promotion. My name is Christina Bergman, and I will be facilitating today's webinar, and I'd like to remind everyone to please remain muted throughout the presentation. All attendees will receive a copy of the webinar via email. And now I'd like to introduce our presenters. We have Jim Hetherington, VP of Sales, Donna Boucher, Practice Director, TPM Solutions, Richard Burton, VP of Europe and ANZ. We also have a guest speaker today, Christopher Moeller from the Nature's Bounty Company. Jim, take it away.
Thank you to everyone for taking the time to be with us today. I'm Jim Hetherington, Vice President of Sales with AVATA. And before we get started, I have one slide up front just to make sure that everyone's got a good baseline understanding of who we are. AVATA has been an Oracle partner for more than 15 years, and we support companies using Oracle tools across three major solution areas: Oracle Cloud, Supply Chain Planning, and JD Edwards. And across all aspects of our services, our clients work with us for one primary reason: the industry expertise we bring to bear in every application we deliver. And it's this expertise that allows us to create accelerators that provide an immediate foundation for companies introducing new technologies to their business teams. And our webinar today is a great example of this. AVATA is one of the few consultancies that has taken the processes and metrics that we know drive more effective use of trade spend and codified them in a pre-built solution for trade promotion management, AVATA's TPM Express. We'll review the solution, speak to a client that has recently adopted the tool, and then describe how this solution can be deployed in a cloud environment as companies migrate from on-premise transaction environments to Oracle Cloud. Again, thank you for taking the time today. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to know more. And with that, I'll turn it over so we can get started.
Thank you, Jim. One of the first things that we want to talk about is how AVATA got to where we are with our offering of TPM Express. One of the things through the years as we were implementing TPM solutions using the Demantra PTP and DSM software, we realized that there were a number of touch points that are critical to any TPM solution that sometimes are overlooked in implementations. There are significant impacts to finance, sales, marketing, and demand functions, whereas a lot of folks sometimes think that TPM is just a sales tool. We also have a significant amount of industry experience within the AVATA team across not only multiple consumer goods company verticals, but also across territories, including North and South America, Europe, and Australia, New Zealand. This breadth of experience has allowed us to really concentrate on the best practices that drive customers along the true right track for TPM implementations. This Express model brings together a concentration of best practices that ensures that these implementations are successful. In addition, we have done, as we've gone through our implementation processes around TPM Express, we provide a continuous feedback loop of design improvements that allow us to provide new offerings to customers that we build into all of our future releases. Our TPM Express solution was specifically designed to reduce the effort and complexity required to implement a truly best practice TPM solution without sacrificing any of the functional or process design features. We cover the entire spectrum of a end-to-end business process for trade promotion management, including annual account planning and fund planning, predictive trade planning and optimization, promotion execution, including deduction settlement management, and post-promotion evaluation. We have made sure that the TPM Express solution covers thoroughly all of the functionality required to support these critical business processes. So one of the things that we've tried to do is truly demystify a TPM implementation, keeping it simple through both design and delivery. This has been a critical aspect of our development of the TPM Express solution. In the early stages of doing TPM implementations, we often heard about how complex and difficult these implementations were perceived to be. We also realized that using standard methodology and implementation approaches, we were going through many of the same processes as we design solutions for various customers. What we began to understand is that by creating a quick start or pre-build solution, that we could quickly provide much of the functionality that we were building from scratch for each implementation in a quick-to-implement package that provides clear business process and best practice designs. How we accomplish that, we go through an assess phase where we do a design shop that is based on the accelerated approach and industry best practices. We have pre-prepared integration template documents, which helps us drive a quicker integration for master data, shipments, and syndicated data. This can be from any ERP. We have pre-configured hierarchies that will support not only retail, but food service implementations as well. We provide a template-driven planning and promotional execution worksheet approach, which are all linked back to business process flows and based on best practices and insights from multiple implementations. We've pre-configured ROI metrics that are most commonly used within the CPG industry today and provide pre-built models and worksheets for things such as funds management as well as deductions and settlement management. I'd now like to introduce Christopher Moeller from the Nature's Bounty Company, one of our valued business partners, that will take you through his experience with implementing TPM Express with AVATA.
Well, thank you, Donna, for that very warm welcome. Just to reiterate, my name is Chris Moeller. I work at the Nature's Bounty Company. I am in sales finance. I'm the director here, and you know, as we started our journey down, you know, implementing a trade system, it really kind of came out of the needs of what the business where we were. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate that, you know, companies as they go from infancy and into a more mature type of business, you need systems to help go drive that. When I got to Nature's Bounty, the company had a trade system. It was a demantra-based system, but it was about 7 or 8 years old. It had not been updated, and there were really like no processes or no organizational emphasis to like really keep the system like up and running or really using it to drive any of the financials or trade efficiencies. So really what we were trying to achieve here is to implement not only a system but like the end-to-end business processes that would normally surround it. So at Nature's Bounty, we did not ever do a sales forecast. There was never a trade fund forecast. Really what the old system was used was primarily to clear credits. But like I said, so we really needed to come in, implement an S&OP process on a monthly basis, have a way to like do a trade fund forecast so that we understood what our spending was, and then the whole idea or concept of what an ROI was completely absent from the organization. So we use the system implementation to help put some of that capability into place, or at least that's been the goal, and to really allow us to kind of like leapfrog like some of like the organizational learning or some of the things that you'd have to do in order to get from doing none of those activities to like doing them all and doing them all successfully in a short amount of time. So one of the things that AVATA took us through was their TPM Express. which was something that they had built up over the years after putting in numerous implementations with partners from around the world. What we really liked about the products that they were offering is it built upon a lot of standard industry types of practices from a number of different consumer products companies and companies in other types of CPG type of companies or industries. And it really allowed us to go kind of leapfrog all the learning that you'd have to go do through a customized model. That includes not only from a system standpoint, but then all the processes that would surround it. So, using the TPM Express model from AVATA really allowed us to go very quickly, to go not only get a system in place that functions and really meets like the business needs, but it allowed us also to go pretty quickly from a process development standpoint to really bring the organization along in a very rapid manner, to go from a world where, as I said earlier, where we had no forecast, we had no way to do anything except for clear credits, to move from that type of world to having a full end-to-end business planning system where we can not only like forecast our gross and our net sales, but we can do everything from a trade management perspective, including trade optimization, which has never been done at this organization before. Even though we're only, call it 4 months into the go live, we're already seeing a lot of business benefits. So one of the biggest things that we're seeing is it has allowed us to go to full accrual accounting. So in our prior world, even though we would do accounting, accrual accounting at a very macro level, it would be GAAP compliant. It did not allow us to accrue down at the customer or brand level, which made it very difficult to drive accountability down to the sales folks. It also made it very difficult to do performance evaluation, and really, like, to a certain extent, like track like the trade spending budgets and how we're doing versus plan at the various customer brand combinations. So having this new system allows us to really clearly identify what our trade spending is on a month-in, month-out basis at a much lower basis, or a much lower level, which has allowed the entire organization to move to accrual accounting. So we are going to be much more accurate. It gives us line of sight into our future trade spend, which allows us to optimize it. The system is already generating kind of what I'd say are like pre-event ROI types of analysis. So it allows us to get a pretty good estimate on, okay, like maybe I should shift investment from promotion A to promotion B, or from brand A to B, or across customers and things like that. So the level of transparency that we have is a complete breakthrough for the organization. Through the TPM Express model, we're now able to kind of access data that the salespeople would always clamor for. So 2 years of history of shipments and consumption at the EPC types of level. We have information on shipment versus consumption, so that we can go address any issues with our customers more proactively. There's information in the system regarding customer profitability and our profitability. So we're already starting to get the salespeople thinking about, how do I go joint business plan more effectively with my customers, so that both the customer and the Nature's Bounty company go win in the marketplace together. The transparency has been great from a gap closing standpoint. So now that we have a sales forecast, now that we're getting that through the TPM Express model, this sales forecast allows us really to understand, like, where do we need to go flow resources? How do we, do we need to make some investment choices? So we are really in like a new world of transparent information, which allows us to go plan and activate against the business much more effectively. It's also it's kind of a funny benefit to throw out there, but it's really helped us with our data quality. So now that we have a system, and downstream as data flows out of kind of like a master data hub, as it moves into other Oracle databases. Having TPM in there and having it as close as it is to the customer has really allowed us to go drive a lot more accuracy in our master data and start to put some controls around that information so that everything that it goes through within the financial systems throughout anything Oracle-wise is much, much cleaner. So it has kind of been like the carrot that we needed in order to kind of move that organization along. So it's been a pretty successful implementation. You know, again, like the benefits, just to summarize, have been like transparency and, you know, kind of on a go-forward basis, like where our financials are coming from. It allowed us to pretty like accurately, so some pretty significant breakthroughs that you know, allowed us to really move into a more mature type of company. And you know, AVATA was a huge enabler in that, and their product, the TPM Express, allowed us to do it very rapidly and do it you know, at a pretty reasonable cost. So from the Nature's Bounty company, you know, it's been a pretty successful implementation. We're still in our infancy, and we have very high expectations you know, as we go forward. You know, this is all the way up through the entire company's you know, as we look at our fiscal year, like strategies and goals, really optimizing and getting the most out of this investment is, you know, kind of front and center both in our Chief Operating Officer and Chief Executive Officer's mind. So it's going to be critical that we use this tool and really, you know, really leverage it to take the business to the next level. So, you know, it's been a wonderful experience implementing this. AVATA has been an excellent partner. It allowed us to avoid a huge number of pitfalls that, you know, we would have given to our own volition, would have fallen into. And you know, we have an excellent product, and you know, we had an excellent relationship with them, and I do believe we will continue working with them in the short, medium, and long-term future. Now I will turn it over to Richard Burton.
Chris, thanks very much for that fantastic summary of how AVATA has implemented TPM Express at Nature's Bounty. Sincerely appreciate your time for giving those thoughts to us. So, closing out the main areas of the Express model and starting to focus into how we are evolving this into the cloud environment that is coming around us for most of our products. We wanted to just quickly give a example of how we have created segments and modules within TPM Express to allow companies to stagger their deployment of the solution. So you can see here we've got 6 different modules effectively within the Express package. The core modules around promotion planning and trade spend management, and then optional modules around volume management, advanced statistical analytics, reporting analytics, and alerts and notifications. The reality is, through our experience with many customers, is that there is a significant amount of functionality that Demantra as a solution can present. But many customers, and MBTY is an example of this, may not require all that functionality to start off with, but want to focus on some specific areas just to get their solution up and running. And so for new customers looking to acquire the Express package, we give the option of enabling the business to focus on specific areas rather than trying to do a full end-to-end rollout. We found this to work particularly well with smaller companies in particular, where the breadth of functionality required sometimes needs to be reduced against the size of the project and the size of the resources involved on the project. The package approach also allows us to break down the journey into manageable chunks, which also helps to upskill the user and especially help with user adoption and change management, which I think in this particular space is one of the most important things. Along with the Express model, we obviously have got pre-configured worksheets, pre-configured business processes, many different areas within the, I guess, the functional and technical deployment of the solution to facilitate the rapid deployment that we've heard about with Nature's Bounty. In addition to that, we've also created custom integration hooks to provide specific data to enable strategic reporting, understanding that whilst Demantra as a solution has got a broad capability to provide what I'd say typical real-time user reporting on the sorts of key data that we need for TPM, the strategic reporting that might be used to drive the SMOP process or high-level sales director or marketing director evaluation of performance, this we'd typically expect to be integrating back to Oracle BI or Cognos or perhaps some of the newer applications on the market such as Tableau. But ultimately, within the Express model, we've been able to create specific integration profiles that hold key data around things like accruals, promotion performance, volume management to drive that strategic reporting. So in summary, the advantages of TPM Express are ensuring that we have a business process driven solution, and that goes to the length of ensuring that we have business process maps linked in with physical worksheets in the solution so that users can look at the process and have the application drive how they're going to work with the solution. Typical implementation cycles are 50% lower than a traditional TPM implementation. Now, obviously we've heard from Chris at Nature's Bounty that's a clear example of a solution that I'd say from our own personal experience should take in excess of 12 months, but with the TPM Express process we reduced that down to 5 months, so it's a significant benefit for helping businesses that are keen to, I guess, adopt a best practice and simplified model to start to work very quickly with the TPM processes. And then integrated to Oracle supply chain tools. Now, obviously, part of the presentation today will be actually looking at how we are integrating to the cloud environment, but we also recognize the importance of being able to integrate to other applications within the VCP suite, such as the on-premise ones like ASCP, and also customers out there that might have multiple instances of Demantra. For example, there are customers that we've been doing TPM for that have a separate schema for demand management, and we need to make sure that we can deploy that both as a single instance of TPM Express or as a combined demand management, PTP and DSM solution. So we have both of those options depending on what the solution footprint is of the customer that we're rolling out to. Pre-configured Demantra objects linked to best practice process design. So for everybody that's acquainted to Demantra, we know that we have worksheets, workflows, series, user groups, security, series objects, levels, forecast engine profiles. There's so many different elements and objects within Demantra, which is often why it can take longer to do a net new implementation, but this is the advantage of TPM Express. A solution comes pre-packaged with all of these areas designed, configured and ready to go to be able to quickly implement it within the client footprint. And then finally, multiple add-on features. So I think one of the best areas that we saw came to fruition with the Nature's Bounty implementation was the evolution of the post-go live user adoption process. And this had basically hints and messages and cheat sheets on a weekly basis going out to the entire Demantra user group at Nature's Bounty to keep them up to date and remembering all of the core functionality and capabilities that had been presented within the Express training at the end of the implementation. In addition to that, AVATA can also provide project support for change management, post-go live, user adoption, terms management and claim handling. And both terms management and claim handling are areas that we know can be quite challenging within all of the regions of TPM customers that we've worked in. But the Express model has got the capability to start to also handle some of those more complex fields. And moving on to the Express cloud integration. So the world is evolving and changing around the planning systems. Obviously, SCM R13 standalone solution is going to hopefully be available sometime mid next year. Demantra TPM Express will be integrated to that through a number of standard cloud integration features that are available on the marketplace at the moment. Now, first is OTBI. OTBI is Oracle Transaction Business Intelligence. It's effectively the cloud-based version of Oracle BI and allows us to be able to pull key master data out of the Oracle ERP cloud, both in this case to drive TPM Express. We'd be looking at things like the product and customer master information coming from Product Hub and Customer Hub, and then shipment information, budgets, pricing, COGS and rebates from the ERP backbone going into TPM Express. When SCM Cloud is available, and for the customers that choose SCM Cloud 13 for, say, demand management and replenishment planning or an SNOP, we also will have the ability to use OTBI to bring in baseline forecast generated from demand management and also pass across what we would call a total sales, shipment and consumption forecast, as TPM Express drives both a shipment and consumption forecasts out to the relevant systems. Within the other areas, more around the finance side for TPM, we're obviously looking at how we integrate using FBDI, which is file-based data import, across to Cloud Financials, which includes Cloud GL, accounts payable and accounts receivable. And from that side, coming out of Demantra Express, we have pricing adjustments, we have accrual adjustments, and then of course AR, AP and GL adjustments as well. And then coming back from Cloud Finance, we have claims, credits and deductions as well going into the DSM module. Around that, and there's a closed loop process that Demantra TPM Express supports, where we have the option of both driving the DSM process through a deduction, but also through remittance advice as well, recognizing that typically the invoice ID provides the link between those. And sometimes it's the invoice that comes across with the remittance advice that can be captured through EDI claims from the specific retailers or customers that the manufacturer is dealing with. On top of that, obviously, we've got standard interfaces to load in both daily and weekly EPOS data from the customer scan provider. It could be Nielsen, it could be some of the other vendors as well. And then around the whole loop, as I said, we've got the invoice that gets passed across over to accounts receivable that comes across as a deduction into DSM. So the concept is ensuring that customers that are taking small or large steps into the cloud environments that are being presented by Oracle can be supplemented and still supported effectively with the TPM Express solution using the correct integration features available to extract data from the cloud environments. Looking into the future and understanding the role that R13 Cloud SCM and Cloud CX customer experience will play for customers, we also recognize that there is a strong opportunity to provide a collaboration of data between Oracle CX and TPM Express. So for people within the experience of working with Demantra and Siebel previously, we recognize that there is a synergy for many customers that have got perhaps Siebel CG and are moving across to the Cloud CX environment, looking for TPM capabilities and functions, of which TPM Express would be one of those. And it's one of the future areas that we'll be looking into effectively to complement the CX solution, and also it will be based on effectively the same stack configuration that the CX model will be working across. So that brings us to a close of our presentation. We very much appreciate your participation and taking the time to listen in on this webinar. For more information on any of the content that you have seen today, please reach out to us at AVATA. Many thanks.